for being here. You guys are awesome. Let's see. It's the Paint with Josh show. Welcome. I'm Paint with Josh, and I'm going to teach you today how to do a very cool little double waterfall type of a scene. I'm going to tell you everything I've done so far to my canvas, so you can pause the video and get ready to do what we've done. Right? We got lots of colors out today, so I'm going to go through them all. Okay. We've got our dioxazine purple. I'm not going to use the phthalo green, so let's not worry about that guy. We've got our Van Dyke brown, our dark sienna. This is yellow ochre. Then I took a little of my Meaden crimson. If you don't have it, it's okay. You can use the Bob Ross crimson up here. And then I have bright red, my cadmium yellow, my sap green, my Indian yellow right here, which is what we put onto our canvas. And then Prussian blue, the very dark blue. Alizarin crimson, midnight black, titanium white. And I'll tell you what I've done so far. This is a 22-inch by 28-inch canvas that I had to make black. And in order to make it black, we use Liquitex black gesso. And that is very liquidy acrylic paint. It will spread very evenly across our canvas. Do that, let it dry completely. When it came time to paint this scene, I took my Bob Ross liquid clear, or a substitute would be linseed oil, and covered the entire canvas with the clear. Then I wiped off the excess, okay? Then we took our Indian yellow and our crimson and then our purple in big stripes. So Indian yellow stripe, crimson stripe, purple stripe, right? Then we have a little bit of our crimson and purple, and then we waterfalled some purple right here, a little bit of crimson smiley face underneath, and then purple, crimson, yellow, and then back to crimson again, right? Doesn't matter how it's up there. It does not have to be perfect, okay? The imperfections are what's going to make everybody's a little bit different and a little bit awesome. Now, this is something very strange, okay? We already have our liquid clear, and we have our undercolors, and now I want a little bit of liquid white, okay? I like to keep my liquid white inside of an old liquid white lid, right? So eventually, this lid will become this lid, which is just all disgusting and gross. Okay, what we need to do is, I always try to get a little bit, right? I'll take a little bit of my paint, zip, pour it in there. We don't need too much. And now we have a surface that we can go grab some of that white paint from if we need it, without having to taint the paint that's in the jar. Taint the paint. That's gonna have to be a new shirt. That's gonna be a new shirt. Don't taint the paint. Okay. Now we've got our wet canvas, it's all ready and rocking. We put our undercolors down, and now with my 2-inch or your 1-inch brush, whichever one's more comfortable for you, I'm gonna dip into the smallest amount of liquid clear. We're talking little bit. That even looks like too much. All right, let's try to get some of that off. Because we can always go back and get some more if we need it, right? But we'll take that little bit, and then we're gonna go right into our yellow, and it's gonna become so bright just instantly. Right, now we're going to spread this paint out. We don't really want to go back and get more. Once it's up here, just let it work itself out and out and out and into these darker colors and go forever, right? How far can you get your liquid white to spread? Now, once you come up into your purple, don't go back down here, okay? Without dabbing off your brush first. If we need to make it a bit brighter, why don't we go into a little bit of our liquid white again, okay? Come back in here. There it is. All right, spread that paint. Get it all out here. Let it grow into the night, up into that purpley color. You can't even really see what it looks like from over in my vantage point. Just like that, all right? I don't want to go down too far and bring that purple back into my yellow and dull it too much. All right, give it a little bit, just like that, guys. This bright little sky. Make something different, right? Dab off your brush and go back and we'll blend out the rest of this stuff, right? Just so it's nice and soft. There's a lot of blending in this painting for sure, right? Because we don't really have any clouds out there in our sky, right? So we need to blend it well enough that we don't need any clouds out there in our sky. How far do you want your brightness to grow out into your purple is all up to you. How far do you want that color to mix and grow down? Right? Which is very soft, muted little thing. Oh, that's cool. I like that. Yeah. It's very neat. Very, very neat. always dab off your brush if you're going to go back into your bright area. Didn't really clean it, just got the majority of that dark paint off of it. That's cool, I like that. Okay. Let's move forward, you guys. We're going to be doing a little bit of mixing of paint today. Right? We're going to make our version of our plaque. We call it brack. I think is what we actually call it. We'll take our Van Dyke brown, the darker of the two brown colors. Okay, our Prussian blue, the darker of the two blue colors. And then our crimson in about equal parts. Just like that big old mess of them. Right? And we're going to mix these guys up until they turn into one solid dark color. And it's going to be like a blackish, brownish, purplish, brownish, blackish, brownish color. Very dark, very dark. Right? The more that we mix it, the more all one color it will become. And we don't need too much of this paint out here. Flatten it out into a little pile like that. Okay. We'll wipe off our knife, and let's go grab a little bushy brush. Right? You can either grab the Paint with Josh round brush, you can use the Bob Ross round brush, whatever you want to do. And let's just get a little bit of paint onto here. We don't really need to plunge into the top of the pile for these further away guys. In fact, the more indistinct that they look, the further away they will be. Right? If we make them too detailed, then we're going to have them be too close to us. And that's not what we want to do. Pop a little bush out there, just soft little things. See how it's very dark, but it's not as dark as our plaque mix. And because we're only kind of grabbing it at the edge right here of its pile, bringing it down, and then tapping into that very flat area, there's not a lot of paint on the brush. Right? Maybe this guy's a little taller. Just out there, wherever you want it to be. Right? However you want it to look, whatever. It doesn't even matter. Okay? Now let's switch to our fan brush. Where's the Paint with Josh fan brush? How dare you go missing on me, sir? There it is. My fan brushes, or my brushes in general, have a shorter handle than like those Gak Doctor ones that we're used to, so they get lost in my paint pile, or my brush pile on my table over here. All right, we're gonna wiggle down this brush, make a little weave out of it. You see that? I'd pay for that. Out here, pull it down, fill up the bristles. The Paint with Josh brush is a very fine brush. What if we came down like this and just dropped in just a little sucker out there, right? All it is a guideline, right? Just to keep us going down straight, or semi-straight anyway. It doesn't have to be perfect. The more we go down, the more we push into the brush, allowing the bristles to extend and cover and darken out everything that's back there. If you don't have enough paint on your brush, maybe you get a tree like this. Hang on. Let's see if we can just make one incorrectly. There we go, right? Let's say we didn't have, let's wipe some of this off. We didn't have enough paint on our brush and we tried it. Let's see what it looks like. All right? Start coming down and start leaving little spaces in between, right? Where you can see all the way through because there's not enough paint there. So if we came back in and we mixed a little bit more, and then we come out and we started dropping on more things and filling up those spaces, right? It not only brings your trees forward and pushes your sky into the distance, but makes them very full. So now it looks like there's lots of little branches popping off of this guy. He got lots of water growing up, right? Even that one in between the two. Who cares? Leave it. Literally leave it, man. And that's all you got to do on those bushes and trees back there, for real, right? We don't have to. We're going to come back and put a little highlight on it, but we're going to lay out our land first, okay? And this is what I want our land to look like. We're going to be a little bit taller over here, a little bit lower over here. Not by too much. It doesn't have to go straight down, you know what I mean? But you need it to be a slow, kind of diagonal slope in order to have our land look correct, okay? Boom, ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. All of a sudden, there was a tree. That'll happen. That'll happen in the night. Take a little bit just to get rid of that very bottom horizon bit. That's all we're trying to do really is keep a small amount of that color back there. Now I'm going to go into my sap green right here on the brush and the cad yellow. Just kind of mix them together and then turn the brush over so we get a little bit of green, a little bit of yellow on each side. It starts to mix down and down. Now at this point, there's no liquid white, right? If Bob were going to do it and lay out all that plaque color, then you need your liquid white in order to get your paints to stick. But if there's no paint out here, except for the purple and crimson undertones that we have in there, it'll be much easier for us to get on that low level down here and start tapping it in. Right? Get right underneath it. We don't need them split apart like this. You know what I mean? That doesn't look real. But if we get in here, right underneath, tap it, tap it. There's nothing that we're going over. We're just hitting canvas, right? We haven't put that dark stuff down here. Now watch this. See how we're getting lower and lower and lower? We started up here. Now we're down here. It's not, it's only about a half an inch really, but we're getting that slow gradient down. And we're dropping off a lot of the color off of our brush, right? There's not much left on there. So let's dab it off on our paper towel. Come back in here into the green, into the yellow. Back and forth, just mixing it up all crazy like, right? Tapping it in so our brush gets very flat like that. So a lot of times you're kind of pushing the brush up into it, just a little dip, right? Now, depending on how far back we go, right, just little lines right underneath each other, like we're writing a reverse email. And start getting flatter and flatter and flatter and flatter. Leaving little spaces, and if there's an area that's too bright, you just go back over it a couple times. Right? Until it is whatever you see in your brain, right? If it's too dark for you, that's okay, right? We're at a sunrise, sunset setting, but if you need it to be a little brighter, instead of adding white, just get a bit of yellow, a little bit more yellow anyway, more yellow onto our brush than the green, and so we come down here. See how it instantly brightens those things up? Here's our problem though. We can't have everything be this bright so far away, right? So the more that we go over it, the more it will dull itself down. That is for a reason. We cannot have all the bright highlight parts way back here and have them up here in the foreground where we're leading to. Like this guy, basically connecting on to one of our little friends, dabbing it down, dabbing it down, dabbing it down. How far do you want it to go? It may look like a random thing because we do it so quickly, but it's not random at all, right? We're laying out little lines. If we're having this angle, that's going to make our land look like it's sloping down to a bit of water. If it's more flat back here, then there's less of a slope down to that water. All in how we do it. Now, let's get a little touch of white onto a fan brush that doesn't have any paint on it. Nice clean little fan brush. A little bit of our titanium white paint. Small bit. Now, we can see I've lined it with crimson and with purple, and we kind of let them mix right here in the center. And then I know where my waterfall wants to fall over, right? We also got to remember not to go to the edges, not on this seam, guys. If I'm going to teach you anything, it's don't go to the sides on this particular seam, okay? Leave some space, because we're going to come in with some monster tree branches, right? Very small amount of paint, leave a bit of darkness, and just back and forth, side to side. See how it changed color right there? Oh, isn't that gorgeous? Just from that pinky to the purple, just on the one side. If we come over to the clean side of the brush, it's going to add more white, going to brighten up that color, right? How do you want it to look? Because it's up to you every time that we go to do it. You can do it a different way. Take our 1-inch brush and just slide that guy. Because the fan brush leaves a very rough, watery line. It's very rough back there. So if we take it and brush it across, it just kind of softens that a little bit. Take a little liquid white and our titanium. Get in here. And we'll just come back very flat with our knife. Very small amount of paint. Sometimes you got to push a little harder in order for it to come off. And just leave a little watery indication. Doesn't have to be supremely bright. We can have a couple out here as they're rolling down. Get these little bits dropping off. Right? Wherever you want it to be is quite literally where it gets to live. Okay? If there's ever a spot that's too bright, pull it down, swipe it over, start over. Go back in there with a smaller bit of paint. Little guy. Again, it's still too bright, Josh, but it's okay. We're going to make it work for us. Out there in the night. Right? However far you want to grow down, you just change. See what I mean? Started way up here. By the time we're down in the front, we're way down here. That's going to help make your land look further away back there and closer as it comes over to this side. Let's grab our grassy brush again. Get that green and yellow. And just drag this guy just a little bit right there, just around. It's something that we didn't do in the other paintings, and we didn't do this in class earlier today. But it's something I want to try right here. Just a little thing, just a little bit. Come wrap it around, drop it in. When I start thinking about new stuff, I'm like, oh, guys, this is going to be cool.